So many people jump into business ideas without doing the research.
At all. Treat somebody else's business the way
you want
someone else to treat yours.
You should never take a job for the salary.
Yeah.
You should take a job for the experience.
Yeah. Take advantage of opportunities that work in favor of the strategy or the end goal you want to get into.
You literally are the CEO.
Discipline and valuing your time are some of the greatest assets you can ever have on your side.
Don't work for free without understanding what free means.
Exactly.
If you are not willing to sacrifice for your side hustle, is it possible for it to work?
Forget about it.
Welcome to the Masterminds Podcast. This is a podcast where we grow and develop your most powerful tool, your mind. My name is Richie Mensah, and I'm going to be your guide on this exciting journey as we discuss powerful ideas and concepts that will shift your mindset to one that sets you on a path for long-term success. The goal is to help you to become the mastermind that you deserve to be. For what we are discussing today, it flies around everywhere on the internet that to be successful in this modern world, you need multiple sources of income. Everybody says that, but they don't tell you how to actually make money from different sources. Now you have your 9 to 5, but how do you develop from that? How do you start your own business, your own side hustle, and grow it into something that is hopefully profitable in the future? Well, I'm sitting here with somebody who has mastered the art of developing big and great structures while having his 9 to 5. The man here is a media personality. He's a digital content strategist, and he's also an expert in everything music distribution because he's a broadcaster at MX24 as well as the co-founder of Aftown, which has grown from being a small company, which was an idea in his mind, to actually distributing and helping so many African talents, putting them on the map globally on the music scale. Sitting right in front of me is Antoine Mensah.
Mr. Richie.
Charlie, how far?
I'm doing great. It's a blessing to be here.
Oh, it's a blessing to have you here. This is weird for me because usually I'm in that seat
right?
and you are here.
I know.
And now,
top time for everything.
So how are you feeling? How are you feeling about the terrain right now in general? A lot of people are saying, Charlie, right now making money is difficult and stuff. But how do you see everything, like the terrain of money making right now?
Man, it's bittersweet. It's exciting, but at the same time, with the numerous AI tools that are being introduced and the new tech being developed from AI tools, literally on a daily basis, it can take you aback. It's a bit scary at the same time, but it's once for those who've been running things solo or with small teams for a very long time. This is the time to sort of like make the most of all that experience you've built. All the contacts and the networks that you've been able to garner over the last couple of years, because with the introduction of AI, most of these tools and how things can be done in a shorter span of time, great quality, quickly done. It's exciting. It's our time.
That's awesome to hear. I always love it when I hear people who are seeing AI as a tool and not either something to be dependent on or to be scared of, but as a tool that they can use to grow. But when you created Aftown, there was no AI.
Man, not at all. And I will say this. I didn't create Aftown.
Okay.
So I'm co-founder along with 4 other partners. Jefferson created the name Aftown.
Okay.
At a time when I had the privilege of going to this huge content conference put together by MultiChoice I think it was Mauritius or Joburg, one of them. This was like all the content developers, directors, CEOs of major corporations, media corporations all around the world coming down to Africa for this conference. And everything I learned there, everything I saw there, what you see Ebony Films do now, she actually came and spoke about her vision and dreams of what she wanted to achieve.
Oh, okay.
Being at that conference opened my eyes to the power and the need for our own platform. Especially for musicians. So I'd had a business partner by then called Roland, and we had worked on Couture Freak, which was a fashion retail company just for African clothes. So we used to retail. We signed up a lot of Ghanaian fashion designers and African fashion designers. We built a website called coutureafrique.com, and people would go there.
I didn't even know that was
purchase items. Yeah, that was me. Purchase items, and then we'd send it to the States. We used to do college tours and all of that. It was built within fashion.
Okay.
So we said, hey, why don't we do the same thing for music? So I came back to Ghana, all along communicating with Roland and telling him, because he was in North Carolina by then. I just kept telling him, like, bro, we have to do this. Like, I'm coming to Ghana, but this is what we're gonna do. He also moved to Ghana and said, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna continue my career here. I'm gonna build here, and we set off wanting to build a music platform that would distribute and be a music streaming platform for Africans, the same way we had done for fashion designers. And along the line, Roland's uncle happens to be Mr. Prince Amabing. So Mr. Prince Amabing had a workshop of some sort, if I remember correctly, and Jefferson was at that workshop, and he spoke about Aftown.com during that time.
Okay.
He had the tech, he had the team, he had the developers, but the missing part was the understanding the music business, the knowledge of the music business, the connects in the music business, and developing it into what it could potentially be in the future. So Roland set up a meeting with us and Jeff and Jerome, and we sat down and said, you know what, instead of us starting our own thing, you've got something going, we can build it together, and we did. And at the time, I was friends with Alvin and Kwame Blay. Alvin and Kwame Blay, BBNZ Live Boys.
Yeah.
So I hit Alvin up because I knew Alvin also had plans of setting up a music distribution and music streaming platform, distribution and streaming. And I convinced him. I was like, no, you have to see what Jeff has built and where we can take it. And Alvin came on board, Kwame came on board. So it was a solid team of 6 of us initially. Not 4, 6 of us, and we just set the ball rolling. And my commitment into Aftown music was my connections with the artists that I've been interviewing for ages on radio. Some of the artists that I've been managing and doing music distribution strategies and promotional strategies and PR from. I knew the ground, I knew the terrain.
Me, how you pull links people.
So mine was that's what I'm gonna do, and I was super passionate about the business. Because there's one thing that sitting on radio, you always hear the artists complain about. When you ask them about the challenges, they tell you that there's no music, there's no money in the music business. It was music's revenue sources for African artists or Ghanaian artists in that time frame. It wasn't even like now. It was really limited to, you got to deal with MTN, you've got an ambassador deal with Glow, which was a big thing back then. Or you got a show and you're going to play.
Yeah.
Merch wasn't really being maximized.
So basically, you saw a problem and you found a solution.
Exactly.
And from what I'm hearing, you're more of like a producer because you found the tech.
Yes.
You found the people who can help build the infrastructure.
Yes.
You found the potential clients, which is the artists. So you produced everything together. That's beautiful.
I have this mantra that I go by. Everybody goes through life thinking, or at some point wondering what their purpose is, what their calling is. I've been through that before. Now, some people are the CEOs, the initiators. Some people are the machine or the wheel that keeps everything running. I found and connected the dots in my life, and I always go by that mantra: connecting the dots in your life to discover what your purpose is. And I realized my purpose through service was bringing the right pieces together, to make an idea flourish and execute it.
That's good, because it's really good to know what you're capable of.
Yes.
So they're able to really put things together. Like
yes. It's very important. And I mean, I've been on a couple stages, and I always say it when I'm talking to people my age or younger. When you feel confused, when you feel like, what's next for me? What am I doing? Am I on the right path? Connect the dots. Look at the most frequent things happening in your life, or the most recurring things that it's either the people that you find yourself around, or the spaces you find yourself in, or the things you find yourself doing. Discover the pattern within all of that. There's a framework, there's a pattern, put it together, connect the dots, and you'll realize what exactly it is you're supposed to be doing.
When you hear me using that someday, no, I stole it from you.
No problem.
Connect the dots.
Connect the dots. Yeah.
But how did you manage to balance this? Because this entire time you were working full time.
Yes.
So how did you balance that?
two things. I think when you're passionate about something, you find yourself working at the oddest hours.
Okay.
At the time that people to bed, you're up.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes naturally. Like nobody's asking you to wake up and work on a proposal, or wake up and work on the contracts, or take a trip and go here. You find yourself naturally doing it because you're passionate about it. What becomes tricky is, yes, you're working for somebody else who's hired you and is paying you a monthly salary to focus on their business and make sure that their business is profitable. But a lot of people, unfortunately, my age or older or younger are doing is they get lost in that system and then start using, your workplace resources for your own gain, forgetting that, Charlie, the world moves around. Karma is real. And I always go by, treat somebody else's business the way you want someone else to treat yours. And you probably won't realize how deep that is until you set up a company and hire people to work for you and realize that on the job, they're using your resources or your time for their personal gigs or something else. Until you get there, you won't really realize that.
Because that's the balance,
That's the balance.
You want to open a side hustle, but at which point are you taking advantage of your employer?
Exactly. For me, there are certain rules to go by, and one is keep the end goal in mind. Once you're getting into the, you've been employed, you got your contract, you signed, your responsibilities, your deliverables, your KPIs, and personally, what that your employers don't know is your end goal, where you want to get to at the end of the day, when you want to exit, how much money you're trying to raise on the side to start whatever it is that you want to start. That's what you know. So once you have that end goal in mind, then your strategy comes into place. And it's like, okay, I'm giving myself 3 years or 4 years with this business. I'm going to give it my all. But in giving it my all, I need to make sure that I'm doing it well enough to retain my job. So I keep the income coming. So whatever strategy I have to save and put money away or hire somebody else to do the work that I need to do on the side, that can also flow.
Because it's not really multiple sources of income if you lose your main one.
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people follow their passion and forget that this is very necessary to build, to have a business structure around that passion so it can be sustainable. So a lot of people just go into, I'm going to quit my job and give this 100%. It works for some people, and some people might not tell you that, Charlie. They've got some, some account somewhere that somebody's giving the money. Hard, it is.
I keep saying all the motivational speakers who sit there and tell people the only way to become wealthy is to run your own business. Can they follow by letting them know running your own business is really tough?
What happens when you run out of that initial capital that you thought that you had? And times like that are going to come. So the structure more than anything is necessary. So for me, it's having a strategy with the end goal in mind, and then giving your boss or your current workplace 100% from your heart. Because I also believe in faith, in whatever you're sowing now or you'll reap later on. If you're cheating somebody else and misusing resources for your own personal gain, it's going to come at you. Maybe not now, but along the line when there's a lot at stake, it might come at you. So give 100% to wherever you're working, and then take advantage of opportunities that work in favor of the strategy or the end goal you want to get into.
But from what you're saying, it feels like the reason you were able to maximize your time to do both your work and the side hustle is because you were passionate about your side hustle.
Was key.
But then how about somebody whose side hustle isn't a passion? How about someone who maybe they're working in the bank and, they decide to open a delivery company and hire people to ride the bikes and everything? How do they find a way? What kind of strategy or system can they use to prevent burnout? Because I don't think that guy is passionate about delivery.
I really believe at the end of the day, whatever it is that you want to do, there's an element of passion in there.
Okay.
For a lot of people, it is the passion to live a certain life that you can afford now or in the future, which is driven by financial gain.
So change your perspective.
Exactly. If the lifestyle is what you're passionate about, that's the factor that drives you. So after identifying that, the next most important thing is structure. It's building a structure around you that when you're within the company, giving your boss or your employer 100%, your business isn't suffering. I mean, I've read this and seen quite a number of people say it. when you're done with your 9 to 5 job and you go home, that's when your work begins as an entrepreneur.
100%.
That's when you need to start putting in work, burning the midnight candle and doing everything you need to do, making those calls, making those connections, following up on emails, to make sure that within that, the 5 p.m. when you're headed home, you get home to the next 6 a.m. when you wake up to 7 a.m., some work for your personal dream has begun. And then having the structure and the plan in place means, okay, so I'm going to be working by myself to achieve this goal for the next 6 months. But by the next 6 months, I'll have this amount saved, or I've pitched to A, B, or C, or I've brought on this friend who's an expert in this, who can take the load off me and start working on the digital marketing. Or now I have enough money to hire a manager who can take care of the shop.
Yeah.
So it's
build
the structure.
step by step.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
This thing you're saying is actually very funny, because I should let people know this. There's one thing people don't know about side hustles and being employed. There's something called employee law, right? If you are under someone's employment and you create or work on any product during the time you are under the employment, the person can actually seize it as their own.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Is it limited to if whatever you've created is identical or similar to?
No,
it's not really.
Anything you create, once is within the time, because technically the person is paying you to work.
Okay.
So if I'm paying you to work from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and 3 o'clock, you create a business. I have a stake in that business.
I never knew that law
existed. It's a beautiful law. So unless it's explicitly written in your employment contract that you are free to work on your own products separately, it's there. It's in law.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not limited to, like, let's say if I'm paid to design shoes or design clothes and I design clothes on the side.
No, it's not limited to anything.
That's nice.
I mean, think about it. So if I've employed you at my company, and so let's say we shoot stuff, and then you decide to do something else, you can come to me with that idea and it becomes my new product. Right?
Yes, that's true.
So the fact that I'm paying you to work, that means at that time, I own what you create. It's a very tricky law.
That's why you need to work after 5 p.m.
Thank you, because that time belongs to you.
Exactly.
If you
That's
go
why
home
you
and you do your
5,
thing, or you ask for a day off or anything, because like you're saying, it's quite painful for somebody to also find a way to pay you salary month after month. And then you are using that time to create something that doesn't benefit them. It becomes a bit unfair.
Yeah.
And karma is real.
Yep.
As you are trying to climb your way up, don't step on other people.
Exactly.
Because, the ladder will break and you'll slip right back down.
Yeah, and I learned that, I wouldn't say the hard way, but I learned it when I made the switch from just being a DJ and radio presenter and MC to actually working on the business side of media, from being a programs manager to being a business manager at Live FM, to then heading operations at MX24, and even working through my agency, heading some major projects under digital marketing for MTN Ayoba. You learn that it goes beyond the talent. It goes beyond the creativity. It goes beyond the flashy designs and the videos. At the end of the day, there's an underlying principle that a business needs to run on. Yeah. And if you don't adhere to those principles, meeting KPIs, having regular team meetings, checking in on everybody, making sure you're working the hours that you're supposed to work, you realize your business is just going in circles. And it gets to a point where you're making losses. And then the relevance of your business dwindles and it eventually dies. And unfortunately, that's what happens to a lot of creative entrepreneurs and their businesses on our side of the world. We're focused so much on the creativity, making it look great, making the brand look posh and attractive.
I have a website.
Yeah, but getting the systems you need to put in place to make sure that you're growing and you're getting to a point of profitability. Also, if you're not profitable.
But how did you manage that? Because from being a regular employee doing your 9 to 5 to suddenly having to run a business means you had to go from following instructions to learning business, learning KPIs, learning how to manage all these things. How were you able to transition like that?
So I realized at a very young age, because I started very early. I think I started way before I even got into Persec. I was always passionate about the entertainment and media industry and the business of it. But like everybody else, I was just what I saw. Like you see flashy, clothing labels. You hear about record labels, management agencies, and you want to get into it. But then I began reading stories and seeing how a lot of people are failing. A lot of businesses that you hear about are closing down. Radio stations are shutting down. It's like, why? And I started working in the spaces, and I see real time why these structures are failing. And I also had the privilege of doing internships and working under some of the greatest minds in media in Ghana and even across Africa. I've had some of the greatest mentors that I'd even say, okay, you're my mentor. I just work with them. I work under them. I'm taking instructions and I'm learning at the same time. And I was learning from their wins and their principles, but even more important, I was learning from their failures. It's so essential to, at a point in your life, give yourself time to say, I want to serve, as in I want to work under somebody with the strategy of understanding, understudying, and picking lessons from their mistakes. And I had a lot of that. So a lot of the knowledge that I acquired, aside watching and learning and reading, it was from working with the very people making the mistakes. I'd be in meetings and I'd hear this, that doesn't make sense. I go and check it out. So I learned how to do budget sheets, projections a lot early. I worked with people for free, literally for 2 years. But there's this one job I got as sort of like an assistant consultant to him. He really believed I could be his assistant consultant. He's like a big mind in tech when it comes to Ghana and Africa. And he believed, based on the potential that he saw in me, that I could be his assistant. So I'd work on proposals. I'd be in his meetings. I'd hear words I've never heard before. He'd tell me, "Oh, do these projections," and I'll go and Google, looking for it, learning on the job. Then I'd have meetings with him, and he'd tell me, this projection, 3 years, 5-year projections. And I learned all of that. So I could literally sit down, put a business plan together, do projections for that business plan, analyze when the business will be able to break even, when it's expected to make profit, when it's not. All those came from not going to study, for an MBA or anything, which I'm not saying it's wrong, because I'm in school now. I'm now going to school and saying I want to make it official. I want to make official what I already know. But I learned all of that from understudying, serving, and saying, I'm in this space for this amount of time to learn.
That's actually a concept that I also learned from Rich Dad Poor Dad, where he explains that you should never take a job for the salary.
Yeah.
You should take a job for the experience.
Yeah.
Because I always tell even my employees that you literally are the CEO and the business is you. So you are developing yourself. So if you take a job thinking that this is going to give me a salary that will make me survive, and you're not thinking about growing yourself for the future.
Exactly.
Then it means you don't
Or in this case, growing yourself so you are the best CEO for your side hustle business. Exactly. It's very important. So okay, in 5 years, I want to fully run my own company.
Yeah.
So in 5 years, I need to work for a company or within an industry where I can learn the nooks and crannies and mistakes and everything within these 5 years and come out knowing that, I'm ready for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, did you ever feel like quitting and concentrating fully on your side hustle?
No, 100%.
So did you?
100%. No, I didn't, because
why not?
I learned. No, there were times where I would pause. Like when I left EIB, when I left, Live FM had been sold to the owners of Metro TV, I think the Jospon Group, for a lot of money. And Live FM is a brand that I had grown up with. I'd done Vibe 91.9 FM. I'd kept it alive. I was part of the team that was turned into Live, and then part of the team that Bola then bought Live and then turned into Live FM under the EIB network. So that dial 91.9 was, I was emotionally attached to it. So it really hit me hard when they sold it. But yet in my exuberance and in my innovative mind, I was like, no, we're going to turn it into Live Extra and go digital and have a digital radio station, which we did. But it got to a point, I just felt it in me that, it's time you've done what you can do in radio. You've learned everything you can learn within the traditional radio space. And I'm one that was always preaching about digital in the future. It's time to switch and take a break. So I did. And it was at that time that, I took agency work, my personal agency work, a lot more seriously and landed a really, really good contract, with a super app, based in South Africa, and did that for another 5 years. So I did do that. But even within that time, I got a call about joining the MX24 team, consulting with programs management. And at first I was like, no, I'm done with traditional media. I'm giving my 100% to the digital world and everything that it has in store. And I thought about it, prayed about it. Then I thought, nah, listen, I've done radio. I'm doing digital. Let me touch on TV. Because at the end of the day, the digital world also is going to be built from traditional TV media. So go in there, learn as much as you can, and then apply that to what the future is holding for digital. And that's why I took that off. So I did, but then I slid back into it and got another boss and started working for him.
Yeah.
But by that time, I'd built together a really solid team.
So that means the main reason for not quitting your job was not even financial, but more of the experience and the knowledge.
I needed to learn a lot more.
Yeah.
So I went back in and then started working with and under incredible minds, people who've done it for ages, some of the best directors, and learning the ins and outs of it, which I've done now, the 100%, the whole 9 yards of TV production, learning that and knowing that off head and understanding it to the point where I can execute and plan it for anybody else.
Yeah.
Was the reason I went back. I was like, no, I'm going back in and I'm going back in to master this so I can apply it to the future.
But then what do you do on days when like your main job really needs you and your side hustle really needs you? What do you do?
Man, the conflict, that's where conflict of interest comes into play. It is difficult. And it'll test your principles, but that's where you have to learn to delegate and trust. Okay. So if you're the type of entrepreneur that wants to keep everything to yourself and it's just you, you're gonna have a big problem. You're gonna have a big problem. That's when you so before you even get there, you need to know that this time is going to come. And I'd experienced that in doing Live FM and building Aftown with the rest of the team at that time. I mean, there are times where I need to go and do a huge Aftown pitch, and I wouldn't be able to go, but I wasn't needed there because my other partners had it covered. So when we signed that deal with Aftown and MTN deal, it was great, but I was just a part of the process when it came to the artists and the structure of it. The rest was handled beautifully by Roland and Jeff and the rest of the team. So that's where having a solid team or a solid partner or choosing your partner in business comes into play. Because you know that, okay, where you're not going to be available 100% for your own business. You know that going to work for somebody else. So who's got your back? Who in your camp can pitch? That being said, there's still times and moments where you are going to be needed. And the leverage you can have is in your own workspace, working for your employer. How relevant are you?
100%.
How much power do you have? How much leverage? That's the word. How much leverage do you have where you work?
How much value?
Value. Because if you have relevance, you have leverage, you have value, that's where you can negotiate your time.
Yeah.
And have time for some of these other things that your side hustle brings. But negotiate in a fair way that keeps the business, that doesn't affect the progress of the company you're working for. Because once it starts affecting that, then you know that, Charlie, you're treading on dangerous ground.
I think one thing too is transparency.
Yes, keyword.
Because a lot of people open side hustles and start things on their own. And it's like they want to hide it from their boss. But everyone, at least anyone who wants the good for you, understands why you may have a side hustle. But once you're being transparent, you let them know, I really need to go do this. And like you said, you have value. You know, it's like one thing about value is consistency. If you consistently show up for your boss, you consistently do what you need to do at work.
You go the extra mile.
The day you can't be there and you ask to not be there, they will understand. But if you're incompetent at work, when you ask not to be there, they're thinking, Charlie, even when you're here, I'm not even here. How much more when you don't come?
I'll give you this example comes to mind. There's so many MCs, like really, really great, Jerry Alololo, and so many others that have incredible MC careers as side gigs, but they are working in the corporate world. And you ask yourself, how is he making time to go and do this? Nia Itego and all of them. you have leave days as well. Yeah. So if that's why I said you need to be fair to the business. So if I realize, okay, I'm going to go for a conference in SA, and like I've been part of the Music in Africa conference for the last 4 years. Okay. So it means four dates consistently in a year. I'm not at work. So you need to plan and be fair to the business. I've got 21 leave days in a year. My leave days are not going to be, and it's a sacrifice. My leave days are not going to be my vacation, go and do nothing days. This is where your leave days, you have to plan your leave days according to your own side hustle. You know that, okay, I'm going to travel, go and do a business deal, go and do a pitch, plan it on during your leave days. And that's one way to go about it. There's this, and leverage, talking about leverage as well. There's this lady I know who's an incredible voiceover artist. And there's this one time she told me, my company, she works with a bank. So my company wants me to do this voiceover and I want to charge them, but I know they'll not pay me. So what do I do? I was like, tell them the value of it. Tell them you'll do it for them for free, pro bono, because you work with them, but let them know that it's a favor you're doing them. Like, I'm doing this for you because I work with you. But that's leverage that you're building with that company. Yeah. Because you did that, the day you come to them and tell them, I've got an MC gig here, they're not going to say no, because they know your talent is also being used to their benefit. A lot of people will say, no, never work for free in your life, go for your money, but you need to be strategic about it. There are certain cases where it's beyond the money. You think, how can I leverage this particular deal? How can I leverage this particular offer? The other thing is nobody's going to know that I did this voiceover for this bank and didn't get paid. I think
people use the expression, don't work for free, without understanding what free means.
Exactly.
Because money is just exchange for value.
Yes.
So if you're doing work and you aren't getting money from it, but you are building value, you're not working for free. You're actually benefiting something from it.
In tenfold. Yeah. Because it's almost like an investment in your own life.
Thank you.
Because that move you've made, that move of goodwill can pay you in tenfold. Because goodwill is big currency. Man, it's big. And people don't realize
I know days that I was in need and I survived on goodwill.
100%.
From something I did 5 or 7 years ago.
100%. People ask how event organizers in Ghana are able to put together these incredible shows.
Goodwill.
It's goodwill, because if everybody should bring their invoice, Charlie, that event is not happening. Yeah.
Like, when I did my Yes It's Your Fault launch, I was so touched because that entire event was by goodwill.
That's it.
Like, I couldn't have pulled that off if people hadn't come through for me for days that I also came through for them when they needed me.
Sweat equity is also, there's another term people use for it, sweat equity. Like the value I put in your business is sweat equity, but at the end of the day, it's valued by the other person. So if I've put in sweat and effort for your company for such a long time, the day I need something, I might not own shares in your business on paper, but the sweat equity that I've put in your company, tell I'm coming through for you and doing it 100% and even adding some to it.
But all this sounds like a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
So if you are not willing to sacrifice for your side hustle, is it possible for it to work?
Forget about it. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe, especially in our side of the world. I'll tell you why. I mean, we've all read stories and seen you read articles about these incredible tech startups that get funding in no time from Silicon Valley in the billions and millions of dollars, and it just came up with the idea. But there are certain systems that are structured to fund your dreams from the get-go. That's why it's very important to in your planning to understand your own environment, your own community you're coming up in, and understand how it works. Because if you're going to go by that, I'm just going to start my business, I'm going to look for investment. It could work, but Charlie, by a long shot.
Because it's not every system that things work like that.
Yeah.
And I think we're living in a world right now where, everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die.
Yes.
Everybody is looking for the gold.
Yeah.
But they're not willing to put in the work that it takes to actually get there.
Yes.
So from what you're saying, it means one of the biggest challenges in succeeding in a side hustle is maintaining that focus and discipline.
100%.
By actually being willing to sacrifice for it. Because if you are supposed to be working in the time that most people are sleeping.
Charlie, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Man. And I've paid a lot for procrastination to an extent, especially when you have a team that's depending on your lead in the early stages of your business. They're still depending on your say and your plan, that they're waiting for you to finish that proposal to send to them so they can act on that proposal. Man, I'm guilty of that so many times. And I look back and it's a lesson because, you can easily get overwhelmed sometimes, and you're trying to do right by your employers, but you're also trying to do right by your business and those who've invested in your dream and given you 100%. That if you're able to overcome procrastination, you're a winner. And this is for all those who even have a job, have side hustle, and on top of that are going back to school and trying to get a degree or an MBA. Man, you got overcome procrastination. How do you do that?
Yeah, how do you do that?
It's an everyday battle. I don't believe there's a one solution for it. It's an everyday battle of choice. I can sleep, I'm tired, or I can get up and dedicate 30 minutes to getting this done. Discipline and valuing your time are some of the greatest assets you can ever have on your side. If you're able to master the art of discipline and time management, you're gone. And then that's a struggle. And especially in our time, in our generation, there are too many distractions.
Yeah.
Sometimes you pick your phone, you're swiping, and next thing you know, 30, 45 minutes have gone by.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're just swiping for nothing. You can justify your swiping. Like a lot of people do.
With the algorithm too.
Yeah, I'm getting ideas. I'm getting ideas for my podcast. Or I'm getting ideas for my graphic design.
Yeah.
Or, I'm getting ideas for the next script or whatever it is, but that's 45 minutes gone.
If you're looking for excuses, they'll always present themselves to you.
So I've learned it's really a matter of choice. You can choose A or choose B, and you need to be ready to face the consequences of that choice.
Something happened the last time. We're setting something up at Tygon, and my carpenter showed such discipline. I was so impressed. So he had been building the entire day and was left with one last thing, like an idea came, but the shoot was tomorrow. So I saw the tiredness on his face, and I was like, oh, Capi, there's one last thing I want us to do, but we can do it in the morning. Then I turned and I was going, and I saw him doing it. I was like, oh, Capi, you're doing it now. He said, well, I'll still have to come and do it tomorrow morning.
Exactly.
So let me just do it now. It's like,
It's an everyday choice, and there's no one-time formula to beat procrastination. It's waking up every day, and it's facing that choice of either procrastinating or not at multiple moments in the day and deciding not to get it done now. Get it done now.
Yeah.
Just do it. Nike, but just get it done.
So in your point of view, what do you think is the toughest challenge for people who are trying to have side hustles and have multiple sources of income?
Discipline. 100% discipline. If you're not disciplined, you can't do it. And I guess a lot of people just say, it's discipline. I mean, discipline will lead you to weigh value. Where I'm working now is that, and by the way, we're not saying stay employed at where you are forever. You need to be disciplined enough to see value through it. You're a banker. You want to get into farming. What's the value? Well, as a banker, you live a certain life of comfort. There's certain loans and facilities that are available to you that can keep you comfortable while your farm is picking up. So that's being disciplined enough to know, I'm going to stay here. I'm getting these benefits for the next 5 years. ABC is what I'm going to do. You're a young man. And I always start, if I always say, if you've got an idea and you're young, it's best to start then, because when settling down and focusing on your family comes into play, that's different. Because now the choice isn't your passion and your job. It becomes your job, your passion, and your family.
Yeah.
And the choice between that it's got a detrimental effect on your family if you don't choose right and plan right. So you need to start that journey of being disciplined, making those choices, and starting your startup early enough. And if you're already in family, there's always a support system,
So looking at it from that point of view, like how you mentioned the banker going into farming and everything, how do you vet a business idea that you should have? Like how do you make it make sense to you? So I'm in banking, I'm living in the finance world. Everything is nice and smooth. I can get my car loan. I can do this.
Yeah.
And I want to be a farmer.
Yeah.
What how do you vet that?
So for me, so for me in that scenario, connecting the dots, I'd say as a banker, you're great with numbers. So that's an amazing way to start. And do not follow the hype. A lot of people get into businesses and side hustles because there's a lot of hype around it. It's the reason why we have the millions of influencers now. I mean, it's because there's hype around being an influencer. You've seen somebody win this, get this amount of cash, for this. It's like, let me get into
Buy
it.
Range Rovers and houses for their people.
You could be attracted and inspired by the hype, but that's just level one. Level two is you sitting down to say, I'm going to, again, discipline myself and do the research in this industry I want to go into.
I love that.
You need to do that.
The research.
Yeah.
So many people jump into business ideas without doing the research.
At all, man. And the good thing is, because that's level two, do the research. And level three for me is understand the numbers in that area. And that's the bankers, it's easy for them because they understand balance sheets and all of that. They can sit down and do their own balance sheets and say, okay, how much money am I spending to get a farm? I need to acquire the land. I need to hire 2 or 3 employees. So when it comes to salary or retainers, I'm paying this. Okay, then water, fertilizer, electricity if I'm using or installing solar panel. So you've got your inputs, which goes into your expenditure, what you're spending on, and then your revenue begins. Okay, how many bags am I going to harvest at the end of the first phase of farming, and how many of those phases of harvesting, the net profit from it, do I need to get to be able to make up for the capital I invested in? Okay, so if it's 50,000 cedis I need, then it means I need to save 50,000 cedis from my regular day job. So understanding the numbers is key. If you don't understand the numbers yourself, which is a downfall of a lot of creatives.
Yep.
For us, because we're not really big on numbers.
It's like we don't care about the business.
Yeah, we don't. Get somebody who understands the numbers. Get somebody who understands the numbers, is passionate, is as passionate as you, or buys into your dream. They don't have to quit their job. So if you're not into banking, you don't understand, go to that banker guy that's your friend. You could have gone to school with him. You go out with him, you chill with him. Tell him, I want to enter this business, but I know they understand the numbers. Can you help me? He'll do the projections for you. Sit down with him, decide how much you need to go into. Then you make your decision.
But of course, when they're doing the research is not TikTok.
No. That's what I'm saying. You don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype.
The hype will mislead you, man. The hype
I see those people who see, there's a TikTok video saying everybody makes it big in real estate. So they win the lotto and they just go build and say, I'm going to sell this house. I'm going to flip this house in 3 months. And I'm like, okay.
People have lost a lot of money doing that. Because then you hardly see the TikTok videos that will tell you that I lost this land due to litigation.
Thank you.
I was talking to somebody else just yesterday and he was telling me how he's a big man. He's a manager of 2 incredible artists in Ghana now. And he said his money, millions and millions of Ghana cedis is locked away in real estate because of litigation, and he's been in and out of court for the last 10 years.
Crazy.
And because of that, he's paused on real estate. He's not going to do a TikTok video and put it on TikTok.
No.
But in doing your research, knowing people, going to sit down with people, you understand the downsides of it and proper ask yourself, do I have what it takes to sustain myself if this house starts getting litigation? Even look at what's going on with the Ramsar site now. People's life earnings have been invested in real estate, and the government is just going and bringing it, raising it to the ground. And it's because they're saying you're not supposed to build here. Imagine what those people are going through.
Yep. And I love when we talk about these kind of things for them to go out on social media. Because I say my biggest problem with social media is it's the highlights of our lives.
Yes.
People see the great moments.
Yep.
They don't see the suffering leading up to the highlights. They see the nice podcasts.
Yep.
They don't see what it was like when we were setting up. They don't see the years of preparing, getting to it.
The losses. The losing money and being broke for a long time.
So I think maybe that's something we should also start doing more.
Yes.
Share the failures.
I think that's,
as much as we share
for me, that's
successes.
the biggest breakthrough in the digital media industry. The fact that the power has been handed over to people like yourself who can now, you don't need to wait for Joy FM or whatever to call you to sit down and talk about it. People can have their podcast, come and talk to you and listen to your story. And there are so many podcasts online that are educational as much as they are inspirational. You finish listening to a podcast about somebody who went into farming or real estate. He will outline and detail his losses for you, but he will also detail his the way he came back from it. And that's inspiring enough for you to go like, okay, I've learned 360 from his wins and his losses.
Yeah.
That's something the hype of social media won't give you.
And I always say that all knowledge comes from experience. It's either from what you're experiencing yourself or learning from someone else's experience.
100%.
But what's happening right now is we're not teaching people the experience of failing.
Yeah.
We just show them the screensaver of everything going good.
Yes.
So then they jump in, head first without doing the research.
Yeah.
And then they have to now learn the hard way. And it's delaying people's success.
Yep.
In an era where no one even wants to wait.
Yep. And I also think it's also another very important reason why people need to be ready to serve. People want to jump the gun and be the boss and be the CEO of your side hustle now. But what you just explained is one of the benefits of serving under somebody. Working with Richie for a long time, there are certain things that you will say in meetings or in a ride to an event that I can learn from that. You won't go and say on a Joy FM interview or an MX24 interview, whatever it is. You won't go and say it then. And that's very important, that you learn to serve and make time to serve and go like, okay, this is my dream. This is what I want to do. But I want to align myself with somebody, and in aligning with that person, serve that person. I mean, there's a generation, Gen Zs, it's a tough thing for them to do. And I don't say that out of malice or spite. I've worked with a number of them
just
because of my industry.
Yeah.
It's a fact. And I think it's a big downfall for a lot of them. And whenever I meet them in my office, that's one thing I say. Like, I understand the structures of your generation that have made it so that you don't want to suffer. You don't want to be in a space where you are being stressed, where your mental health is where your boss may call you at 10 p.m. But some of my greatest lessons and Google Meet sessions about finance and business structure came from, one of my bosses texting me and saying, "Are you up? Let's work on this sheet. I've got a pitch tomorrow morning." You can't call no Gen Z in this day and age and say, wake up and work on this.
Can't.
Forget about it. I mean, I hate to generalize. I know there are a few out there that are different, but I think it's every generation has its plague, and that's the one for the Gen Z generation.
There's a very powerful thing that I once saw a guy talk about, where he said that his grandfather walked. No, his great grandfather walked. His grandfather drove a Corolla. His father drove a Benz.
Nice.
He drives a Bugatti.
Nice.
His son will drive a Benz. His grandson will drive a Corolla. And his great-grandson will walk. And they asked him, why? What do you mean by that? And he said, tough times create great men. Great men create easy times.
True.
And easy times create weak men. I think what's happening right now is that we fought to make life so comfortable and easy.
Yep.
That it's not making this generation understand the need to suffer.
Yeah.
Like, this generation sees suffering as a bad thing.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that suffering is the process through which a diamond is created.
Exactly.
They don't get it, that the pressure that is put on you.
That's what's going to mold you.
That's what's going to mold you. So when you skip the suffering, you skip the molding.
Yeah.
And instead of being diamond, because, I'm going to science from my science days. The structure of a diamond is very similar to the structure of charcoal. It's all carbon. It's just different pressure.
Yo, that's wild.
So the pressure can either turn you into a diamond
or
into charcoal.
Yeah.
So let's help the Gen Zs so they don't become charcoal.
Yeah, man. I know a lot of people who say, I'm not working with Gen Zs. There are people who purposely look out for millennials and people beyond that generation to work with intentionally because of that going the extra mile factor that millennials and the generation before have. I mean, you watch some movies and you see people that dedicated their whole lives to working for a company, doing a job and being content with it.
Yeah.
It comes with its positives and negatives. But there are times I read those articles, I read about these individuals, they dedicated years of their lives to achieve one thing that opened more doors of opportunity for a next generation. Sometimes I ask myself, do we have people of such caliber now who would readily dedicate themselves to working on this in this position just to make sure that there's a breakthrough in that now?
But I mean, I think that's what these kind of conversations are.
Yeah.
I think they are not being told what they need to hear.
Yeah.
They don't understand the value in going through the process.
Yeah.
You know, I actually had this argument in my company not too long ago where they were trying to talk for the people that, you know, if someone needs to do a job in the night and all that kind of stuff is unfair to them. And I said, you see, if I have a problem as the boss in the middle of the night, I don't have a choice. I have to solve it.
Yeah.
Now, if I call my employee and that employee helps me solve the problem at 12 midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., they've just built value with me.
100%.
When I call another employee and they don't pick up, or they pick up and say it's past my working hours, I'm not going to sack them.
No, not at all. No, it's valid.
Yeah, I'm not going to demote them. It's valid.
Yeah,
your time ends at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
That's cool. But guess what?
Yeah.
Next time I need somebody, I'm not calling you.
That's what they miss. When the opportunity arises, is you're not going to be on a level playing field, and rightfully so, because you missed the opportunity to build value, relevance, and leverage for yourself.
And that value
it's just fair.
grows. That value can turn into you getting promoted. That value can turn into a recommendation.
100%.
You get me? And that value can even just turn into the experience
that
you will get and use later. Because now you, this person working from 9 to 5, you are thinking that work starts at 9 and ends at 5. When you open your own company, that's when you see work starts at 6 a.m. and ends at 6 a.m.
Yeah. and speaking of leverage, you know, the interest, let's just like zoom in on that very scenario. Now, take the two employees. Both of them have side businesses. Both of them have a pitch to an investor that day or a very important meeting, and they both come to you. Who are you most likely going to give the green light to?
Well, obviously, the one who was there for me at midnight.
And that's how it works, man. And you know the scary thing about it? We were talking about AI in the beginning. It's even scarier now.
Because AI can replace you?
With AI. Not only because you could be replaced, but because...
My employees, I'm not going to replace you with AI.
It works in two ways. One, it makes life even easier for Gen Zs and Gen Alphas. Like they're gonna have a really quick, things are gonna move so quickly for them now. But for people who've already established themselves in their companies like yourself now, with the power of these AI tools, there's some nonsense you won't take again.
Yeah.
There's some excuses that won't fly anymore.
Have you noticed something weird? This is the era in the history of mankind where information is the most available. But it's also the era where most people are misinformed or uninformed.
Exactly.
Why?
Man, that's powerful. Yeah,
do you remember the days when you had to find an encyclopedia that was labeled E to read about the pyramids in Egypt?
Man. and this is especially true and even more relevant with people chasing educational excellence, academic excellence today. Like you're chasing your degree, you're chasing your MBA. You could say it's easy to put your thesis together because there are tools to be able to see if you use ChatGPT or any of these other AIs. There are tools, but there are also ways of using AI to make your work in chasing an academic degree a lot easier. But that's when the principle comes in. Are you actually going to school just for the degree?
Thank you.
Or you're going to understand the program you want to go for so you can apply it to your life and transform either your own business or where you work to elevate yourself?
So it's like I mentioned earlier how I love how you spoke about AI.
Yeah.
And you didn't sound either dependent or scared.
Nah.
So most people are falling in those two brackets. We have those who are like, hey, I don't want to use AI because AI is scary. It's going to take over, blah, blah, blah. And we have those two who are so dependent on it. Like, as for social media campaign and you go to ChatGPT and type social media campaign for artists and you bring it to me. That's so generic. It's definitely not going to work.
Yep.
But then there are the people in the middle who understand that AI is a tool to enhance what you already know. So it's like you're mentioning, you're learning something. You need to write an essay.
Yeah.
You can just put the question in AI and have it generated.
Yeah.
But did you learn anything? Now you've become dependent because what happens is the next time you need to produce that essay again,
you're going to go back to that.
You're going to go back to AI.
And then you wouldn't, be able to apply it in the most realistic and impactful ways.
Exactly.
It's, man, AI is, it's a beauty as well. But then now it's also
going
a very...
to make people lazier.
Yes, it will. But for the entrepreneur who has a side hustle, it's a super cool advantage now. If you're applying it right. Yeah, once you have the discipline and you're applying it right. Yeah.
Once the reason for using the AI is to get better, to get better results, and not to cheat the system.
Yeah.
I believe the motive behind something explains how it's going to affect your life. If your motive is to cheat the system, it's like we always say, because once you start understanding that the biggest benefit from anything you do in your work life or in your career is experience. Anything you do to cheat the system is robbing you of the experience.
Solid.
Which means, what's the point? But here's the question that I know most people are asking.
Yeah.
When is it time to go from side hustle to turning it into your main?
According to your plan. That's why it's very important to start off with that plan and that strategy and those KPIs you need to meet. Like, how much do I need to start off with? Because at the end of the day, you need to pay yourself, right? So let's give ourselves a typical scenario. And I mean, we can even go with the banker who wants to do farming, right? How much are you making as a banker? 7K to 10K. Let's just say it's 10K, making 10K net as a banker.
Yeah.
So one of your KPIs in growing your business is, I want to grow my business to the point where it's making enough revenue for me to quit my job and pay myself that 10K.
Thank you.
So if that's one KPI, if your business reaches that point where you're making enough net revenue to pay yourself and still run operations in your business comfortably, that's a number one signal. And still have
enough savings to reinvest in the business.
That's the number one signal. So a lot of people will say, okay, I'm quitting my company, I'm going to do it full time. Others will say, nope, I need some more capital to expand my company. So I'm going to stick with the bank. I'm going to hire somebody that I can pay 5K instead of 10K. And then he's going to run things and expand the business. I'm going to give myself another 2 years with my company, get to a point where I have some benefits. I've done some investments with, whether it's a treasury bill or fixed deposit or something. So when I cash out, I'm taking those benefits with me and I'm going to my business. So that's why the KPIs in your plan is very important. That's what you're going to fall back on and go like, now I've ticked box number one. Another thing is your life, your growth in life as well. For instance, I got to a point in time, I decided, it's time to start a family, So at that point, it's not only you, you got other mouths to feed, you've got other people to support now.
Yeah.
So if your KPI was, I'm going to make 10K to pay myself, and maybe unintentionally or intentionally you've started a family now, that KPI can change because now the money you need to support your family is more than that 10K that you budgeted for. So that's a reason for you to stay back in the employee structure, benefit from my health insurance that covers my family, benefit from maybe housing allowance or vacation allowance, whatever else it comes with. Let me stay in there while I build my hustle. Well, you have a lot of people that work with companies and have their spouses running their side hustles or people they trust.
Because I've seen this happen to a friend of mine, where he had reached a very high level in the business, and he looked at his salary, and his salary to him was sort of basic for the level that he had reached. And he was bringing in all the big business, and the business would, just pay him a salary.
Yeah.
So he felt it's about time I opened my own business
and take those clients with me. I can do this on my own. So
it was a great idea, but here was the problem he didn't consider. Even though his salary was basic, they were paying his rent. They had bought him a car and they were fueling it. They were paying his cleaner. They were paying his security, So
he didn't do the numbers. If he had done the numbers, he'd be like, no.
Thank you. So now when he stopped, and he didn't even start it as a side hustle.
Yeah.
Especially because he was about to compete with his business because he was doing the same job.
Yeah.
So when he started on his own, and now all his savings went into setting up the company and the money doesn't start coming in the way you are expecting.
Yep.
And now his kids' school fees are a responsibility, but he has to pay the rent, he has to fuel the car, and he started realizing.
Don't take things for granted. I mean, there's so many examples of people I've worked with that, one of the benefits of being in a management position for a lot of people, not even being the relevant person in a company, are some of the benefits. Like, okay, we are giving you a car, right? And the company will probably not tell you that don't use the car for your personal rounds, like going to church or going to do your own side gig. Or you have the car, you're using it to come to work, but everything else that you're using it for, you're not considering that. So you make the decision, hey, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna let go, and then you're hit with reality. Okay, now I have to buy my own car.
You have to do the numbers.
I have to fuel. The numbers are so important.
This one is even funny. A friend came to me for advice on should she quit her job for a side hustle. So I asked her about the numbers. So this is a while back. So I asked, how much are you making? She said she's making, at that time, 900 cedis a month. I said, okay, what's the highest amount you've made in a month from your side hustle? She said, 400 cedis. I was like, what? The highest you've made is 400 cedis. You are living on your own, surviving barely on 900 cedis, and you want to quit your side hustle. And now that 400 cedis in your best month is going to be what you will survive on and run the business and invest in the future. Exactly. I don't even think it's a question you need to start with.
But I think some people would say, when I quit, I'll have 100% of my time for my business. Valid. So value that time as currency, as money, and say, okay, that time, if I was paying myself 100%, so add that as that value of I'm paying myself 1,000 cedis, add it and see if it balances out. If it doesn't, then give yourself some more time. I really think learning math in school shouldn't be learn it so you can be a doctor or you can be an engineer. No, it's learn it so you can apply it to your life. In the most basic of forms. And when you do that, you'll dodge plenty potholes.
So what message do you have to somebody out there who has a brilliant idea? They want to start a side hustle, but they're scared.
Follow the 3 steps. And I really think you'll be fine. I mean, get the inspiration. You're there. But do the research, get the numbers, and then create the plan and follow that plan. Don't get into it unless you've done the research and you've mapped out the numbers of how much it's going to cost you, how long it's going to take you to achieve it. And there's the God factor and the natural factor. You can get sick one day and not be able to go to work. There are all these things. If you get sick at work and you're not able to go to work, sometimes there's sick leave. You're still going to get paid at the end of the month. But as an entrepreneur, when you get sick and you can't go to work, it's going to affect your income that month. So just plan properly, and that plan should include doing research, doing the math, planning that out, and then putting together a strategy that fits that plan. Then okay, year 1, year 2, year 3, and then keyword is discipline. If you're not ready to be disciplined, forget about it.
I love that. So to all of you out there who are looking to start a side hustle, you need to be ready to sacrifice. You need to be ready to plan and do the research, and then have the discipline. And then hopefully you can be a mastermind just like Antoine Mensah. Thanks for watching this episode. The fact that you stayed all the way through to the end tells me that you're not only curious, but you have the discipline to see what you do all the way through to the end. Now let's build a community of thinkers who are ready to become the best version of themselves. So subscribe to the channel and the mindset that you will develop and grow every day to become a true mastermind.